one of the things, which is a concern, I wouldn't quite say failing, but which is a concern, is the time that it takes to complete a project finance transaction. And Tema Sona is specific to this as well, because there was a local developer, GCAD, in Ghana, that decided that the process was taking a bit too long to go to financial close. And as a local sponsor, they are essentially in an engineering concern, wanted to get involved in the construction. So they started construction ahead of getting financial close, and without taking the advice that was received all round. Essentially what happened, as you can imagine, is construction continued until the point that funds were not available, and construction stopped. At the same time, it was a time when turbines were in high demand and there were long lead times. So we were then sitting with a deal that didn't reach financial close. We were still working towards financial close, but then had turbines delivered to the site, and local entities in Ghana that funded this working capital. Those facilities were then in default. So we had the excruciating task of going through a process of restructuring whilst still trying to reach financial close. And I'm glad to say that we have reached financial close a couple of weeks ago. Drawdown is still to take place with a few CPs remaining. If I could answer the question of what is successful PPPs with or the success of this story, we're looking specifically at Tema Sona. Essentially, the plant is a 126 megawatt, tri-fueled, simple cycle gas turbine, with the supplier being GE, and it's in the area of Tema in Ghana. There are two general categories that I consider when you look at successful or what creates a successful project. And one are the environmental aspects, and the second is the project-specific aspects. Under environmental, if you look, the first and foremost thing is political will and commitment. And I think in this case, the Ghanaian government had put out a very firm message that they currently have 2,000 megawatts capacity and installed capacity. And by 2015, they wanted that figure to be 5,000 megawatts for them to continue on their growth path. So that was a statement that was made by government, by the minister. There was a change in government in 2008 in Ghana, and the project still continued. Then the project started in about 2007. So these are around 2007. So this is one of those projects that actually was able to have one regime end and another start, and yet still continue with the project. And I think that was quite important that we were able to keep that momentum to a large extent. The legal and regulatory framework is very important. And here in Ghana, you have the VRA, which is the Volta River Authority, in charge of generation, Gridco in charge of transmission, and the Electricity Company of Ghana in charge of distribution. Now, all those entities do write PPPs, though Tema Sona was one of the unique projects and one of the few to actually have a PPA signed with the Ministry of Energy that was then brought down to the Volta River Authority to implement the PPA. The Energy Commission, and they've got a Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission that's set up that handles the pricing, and that was on favorable terms, or they accept commercially bankable terms, and understand that that's required in order for them to have more power plants come online. For this basis, there's been quite a few new plants being developed currently in Ghana.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.